I used to have a friend, his name was Tori Wentworth. We're not friends anymore, and I'm fine with that. But I used to go to Pride every year because he asked. And yes, I still stick up for the LGBT community above being asinine dickhead. Sorry about Tori. Now, I don't know all of Tori's friends. I don't. Some of them are gay, some of them are straight. A lot of people in Boulder, Colorado have friends who are gay. If you hate gay people, Boulder, Colorado is not the place for you to go. Here's the thing, if you go trying to be a bully to a gay person in Boulder, Colorado, a very big homosexual might come out of the woodwork from somewhere, because Boulder has been known as a safe haven for homosexuals since the 1970s. Them Boulder. So Tori, he's got this friend who's fucking huge, and we don't know where this guy comes from. He's just huge, and he's bragging about being gay, which is fine. You know, I mean, he's he's finally somewhere where it's accepted, it's acceptable. He's allowed to be him. I mean, he was gay, but he still identified as a guy. And so there's this younger fella shows up, very much an attitude. You know the type. It's not always this way. Usually it's a man-hating lesbian or a trans person who thinks that now that they have had the change or are at least identifying as female, that it's no longer okay for a man to hit them. Like now that I'm telling people that I'm a woman, I can mouth off to a man and he can't hit me, or all the men here are supposed to stand up and defend him. Her. Well, here's the thing. There's a difference between being bullied and hit because you're part of the LGBT community and, well, you being a jerk. I'm sure you've noticed that I am capable of being a jerk. I get sick of people's shit and I feed it back. When my friends want to tell me something's no big thing, well, shit, really? Watch this. Dumbasses. That's one of the things about a lot of women who transition to being men. They have, although men have a 5-to-1 ratio over women for suicide, men are more likely to commit suicide. The thing is that women who transition to become men have a much higher rate. Like the success rate is higher than the suicide rate has ever been for anyone. Yeah, that's because it's a transition from thinking you're oppressed by the other gender to becoming oppressed by the other gender and your own. You go from getting the benefit of the doubt in most situations to getting the benefit of the doubt in almost none. And many of those women held relationships and friendships for many years with women. And almost immediately after having a transition, they realized that their women friends didn't let them tell stories like they used to. If you've ever had a women's Bible study group in your house, you know that a lot of times the women that are there, they'll sit there patiently and listen to the other women's stories, and each one gets their turn. Or, once in a while, one of them does interrupt and says, "Oh yeah, I had something similar happen," but not a whole lot. And when a person wants to tell their backstory, you let them. Isn't that amazing? But then there's, of course, when you transition to become a man, it's this idea that you are now thinking differently. You are now magically going to be more rapey, or any other number of things that run through your friend's head that you have been friends with for forever. And now every conversation is one-sided. There's been quite a few trans men that I know that transitioned from men to women, or trans women I know who have transitioned from men to being women. Not as many who have transitioned from being women to being men. Anyway, so, yeah, you know the type, the stereotypical asshole. It's somebody who's it's somebody who's born a man to begin with, is extremely flamboyantly gay, and is looking to express upon all of the rest of us men that we're all horrible people who are only excluding her because she's trans. No, that's not the issue. I was, in many occasions, the closest to being a straight person that there was in the groups I was hanging out with. A lot of bi friends, a lot of lesbian friends, a lot of gay friends. When I say closest to straight, what I meant is I was the only one in my group that wasn't attracted to their own gender in some way. Sexually, of course. I just don't think of women that way either. It's gross. Do you not get that? That's not me telling you that you can't have sex. That's not me trying to force you to never have sex because I think it's gross. I'm just saying it's not for me, and it's not okay to pressure me to want it, or to have it, or to make fun of me because I'm not interested. But I get it anyway. I get stared at like I'm a pervert just because I'm walking across the road, walking across a parking lot, getting stared at like I fucking raped something. Now, for somebody who is not used to that, somebody who is not used to people running the door real quick, instead they're used to people holding the door open for them. I've had people that I held the door open for. A lot of guys act surprised, like, "Oh my God, why would a dude hold the door open for me? I wonder if he's gay." But gentlemen usually say thank you to a guy who holds the door open. It is far, far less common for a woman to say thank you. It's just expected. It's just expected. Now, one of these folks who transitioned from a woman to a man was, well, we've got a few of them that actually succeeded, didn't we? A few of them in recent news. Women who transitioned to become men didn't realize it was like that. It's kind of like homelessness. I've known people who became homeless and people that I knew who became homeless. And they say, "I didn't know it was going to be like this." Well, that's because you didn't listen. You didn't listen to the people who go through it. You don't listen to men who are being abused because it's mansplaining. You have it worse because you're a woman and you want to remind him of that every sentence. No, you don't. You do not have it worse than a man just because you're a woman. We are the most victimized, but also very specifically impoverished. A lot of my friends would make every excuse not to listen or look or try to understand, including their own poverty. Well, if you can't come forward and tell the truth or listen because you're broke, you got a lot of problems. It sounds to me like you're capable of using the English language and capable of using your phone, and that your phone is actually on. But guys get blown off. That's how it is. People don't often tell a man a time, and if he tries to set it up, you blow him off. And he can tell that you're blowing him off because instead of telling him a time, you're going to leave it open-ended. When somebody promises to help you and leaves you open-ended, while you may need the help today, and possibly it could wait for maybe a week, for the most part, what people mean when they say that they're going to get back a hold of you as soon as they have time is, I'm going to forget about it because you don't actually matter. If you actually mattered to them, they would actually worry about your well-being, and they would actually get a hold of you and help you. They would listen to what's going on and try to understand, whereas we're taught that as soon as a woman starts to argue with us, we're supposed to just shut up. And then we get told, well, why is it that men are so much fun when it's just men, but once we get women in the mix, it's a lot different? Well, because we have expectations. We have expectations we're supposed to uphold. You can't just have fun with your friends as a guy in most places. And there's so many women out there who think that all we do is stand around and talk about women. It depends on who you are. There's women who are not interested in women. Did you know that? Not every woman has to be a lesbian. There are men who are not interested in men. That should be okay. Equality doesn't mean that we try to fight for your rights and try to make you equal to us. Try to make you equal. But our lawmakers are fucking idiots. It's already equal on paper. The problem is we need body cameras and we need audio recording devices anywhere that there's at-risk adults, and that is everywhere. They say not to give out your personal information in public, but when you force a man into public, yeah, he has to do that, and that sucks. Anyway, Tori Wentworth, y'all know the stereotypical. You've either got a man-hating lesbian that comes up and wants to start a fight with men for God knows what reason, usually a lot of pent-up hostility, because she's being oppressed. Now then you've got the trans folk that are a man who becomes a woman, and it's one of the younger ones in this case, in this story with Tori Wentworth's friend. Because this trans person whose pronouns I don't know, brightly colored, dyed hair, striped shirt that was white striped and colored striped, and very much a lot of multicolored flair to let everybody know, I'm a rainbow kid. I'm like the pink fuzzy bracelets and, and talking flamboyantly gay and trying to move in a way that is very flamboyantly gay from Hollywood. And I did have a friend of mine who explained to me once, well, that's how we can tell somebody else is gay. Like for somebody in the gay community, you don't want to risk hitting on the right or on the wrong person, you might get beat up. Which sucks for me because I don't mean to hit on people when I wink at them. I have Tourette syndrome. You know, so if a woman is freaking out at me because I winked at her and I got Tourette syndrome, that's not going to turn out any better. So is this little tiny person who is very pissed off about being born as a male and, of course, getting treated differently in a different world, but thought now, because I'm wearing all of this colorful stuff and I have colorful hair and I have a funky corduroy hat that signifies that I'm gay and this is why. And it was a very, very flamboyant thing. And in Boulder, you're allowed to be. You should be allowed to be. Am I wrong? I think you should be allowed to be flamboyant. But what's not okay is when you are wanting to be an antagonist who is flamboyantly an antagonist, making a very big show of being an antagonist and trying to assume that everybody in a group where literally nobody is a heterosexual is going to fly. So Tori Wentworth Ward, his friend who is very large, went over there and physically escorted that little twerp off the mall. Meanwhile, that little twerp was screaming the whole time, "This is discrimination. You just don't like me because I'm trans. You're a homophobe. You're a homophobe." And we're all going, oh my God. There's probably like 4 trans women within 100 yards we could go grab and ask to do it for us as well. Like, would you please escort this person off of the mall before they end up getting beaten up for doing something stupid? It's not getting beaten up because they were gay or trans. It's because they were coming up to people who have been victimized their whole lives and bullied their whole lives. And now we got somebody who we've been sticking up for. Many of us fit into the same LGBT fucking group. We fit into the same group category as far as rights go. And we've got this little fucking punk ass little bitch trying to start shit with us as if we are all trying to not get messed with and try to be left alone and not have drama because we hate gay people or something. No. None of us hate gay people. Stop being a dickhead to us and starting fights and pretending you're the victim, bitch. Just because it's socially okay for women does not mean that we are going to socially fucking tolerate it from you. You wanted to transition to become a woman, so it's okay for you to fucking bully people? Is that what you did? No, get the fuck out of Boulder with that shit. And that's the story of Tori Wentworth and Tori Wentworth's big, massive, large homosexual friend. If you're in Boulder, Colorado, you should probably think twice before you go running your mouth about any sort of hateful stuff about homosexuals or the trans folks. And you should also think twice before you go assuming that a group of people is a bunch of heterosexual males. All right. Fucking Google Earth. If you Google Earth, you're not going to get the full story, are you?